What is happening, Budget Builders, and welcome back to the channel. We're back with our 1984 Ford F-150 that we rescued in our last video. This truck sat under a carport, forgotten for over a decade. As you can tell, lakeside, this thing is disgusting. It's green, it's funky. In today's video, we're gonna do a full detail, top to bottom, inside, outside. So follow along as we bring this thing back to life. To begin with, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the bed here. Obviously a lot of trash. You can see, trash bag has literally rotted off a, that's a nice trash can. But let's get this thing cleaned out. I do want to go ahead and pull that old toolbox out of there because you can see that thing's completely rotted out on the bottom anyways. And like I had mentioned, it's a shame. It doesn't look like there's barely ever been anything in this bed because it has sat so long with all the leaves in and everything. I think we got a little rot in the bed that we're gonna have to take care of. Let's go ahead and get all of this dragged out of here. What? Heck yeah, here's a Will It Run number 2. There's our original spare and that original Firestone tire. How neat. As you can see, wet, man, does this look good. Once it dries, definitely going to be a lot of buffing and waxing involved, but realistically for the bed, man, does this thing look good. Definitely some rot here. Thankfully, it's not all the way into our seam there and underneath because these are galvanized, coated a little differently. They look great as far as the frame rails go. And so that shouldn't be too terrible to take care of. And then obviously we'll bed line the very bottom of the bed here. But overall, looking really good. And I am excited to see what the rest of this truck is going to look like. So let's find out. freezing and scrubbing everything, we went ahead and soaked all of the aluminum bits down with an aluminum brightener. Now that is similar to what you would buy from a hardware store to clean like aluminum tunes. Let that soak on there for actually probably a couple minutes. We rinsed it off, did another coat, rinsed it back off, and they look literally brand new. But now to address the rest of the engine bay, this is actually something I saw on Chris Fix It. He used this hyper dressing. I've never used anything like this, but I think this is kind of like what dealers use when dolling up an engine bay, because you hate to go too incredibly crazy, and most of the time engine bays kind of have a dull look. So hopefully this will go on there and make it look pretty good. All our plastic, because this one has plastic fender wells and everything. Dang, that smells good. I'm glad we did this first. As you see, we misted down a lot of the truck here. As excited as I was to see this truck all wet and everything, and it looks so good, I think this is going to have an awesome turnout. There's still a ton of work to go. As long as this thing's sat, especially covered in dust, it has been caked into this paint. The paint is super dry, very cloudy, and there's still a lot to go. Our next step though is, if you feel it, you hear that? There's a lot of trash still in this paint, and we don't want to start buffing on it and swirling it around into everything. So our next step that we need to take with this is we need to go ahead and get some clay bars out, and we're going to have to clay bar the entire truck. And what that is going to do, I'll show you in just a second, is pull the last little bit of trash off the top layer of the paint. What I'll be using here is just a last touch detail sprayer, and because you don't want to be rubbing this in without a little bit of dampness. So this is just a clay bar. You can see it's been well used. Still some life left to go there. We just give it a spritz. You can hear it actually picking up the trash as we run over it. You can see all the trash it's picked up. Hear how noisy that is? Nice and smooth. You can actually hear my fingers sticking a little bit because of how smooth this is now. Now, since this one is not nearly as bad as some of the ones we do, I've got a medium to heavy cutting compound pad here. We use the V32 Extreme Optical Grade Extreme Compound. We'll do 1, 2, 3 little dabs, because I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So I'll do 1 strip at a time, including the trim. Give it a spritz of the pad conditioner, and that'll keep it from getting marred up. If you remember some of our earlier videos when I first started attempting to detail, remember, we're not professionals. I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form. We do this for fun, for your entertainment, and to bring these cars back to life, but I never claim to be professional. So some steps we may do are wrong. We never do it perfect, but we're learning, and hopefully you learn a little bit too on the way. So let's go ahead and we'll start with some small sections here. We'll start on the lowest speed and get it all spread out. I'm going to click it up to its highest speed, but I'm not going to put a ton of pressure. Most of it's just going to be the machine doing the work. We're going to do probably 5 or 6 passes this direction, until we see little to no hazing left, and then we'll wipe it back off. God, what a massive difference. Oh, hey y'all, how you doing? Now, of course, especially at the top here, it's still a pickup truck, so it's not gonna be mind-blowingly perfect. We have some scratches and scuffs, which I think give it just a great patina, especially right here, but it's gonna be pretty slick. Once the pad starts gumming up here, I like to take the air hose, cover myself in stuff, and get the pad nice and clean. You can see one thing we're dealing with, this paint is really thin in spots. So I'm having to be careful around those edges, but I know that's just kind of the way it is, especially these 80s and 90s Fords. It's kind of the thing for them to do, is the paint to just kind of deteriorate. So this one to be as nice as it is really shows something, because most trucks of this era, hitting them with the buffer would just take most of the top layer of paint off. We'd have a white truck up top, so thankfully it's coming out pretty good. Have the entire top side there done. Now let's finish up this side, because I want to get a nice comparison side to side once we have this done. And just to think, we have not even waxed this thing yet. Just the way that glass is turning out is awesome. So smooth, crystal clear everywhere we've already buffed. And obviously this one still needs some love, but I do want to thank you all because I owe that to some of you for commenting. Like I said, quite a few videos ago, go ahead and buff those windows out too. And wow, it sure does make a difference. Now with the finishing pad and some Griot ceramic all-in-one wax, comes the last part to finish this off. Wax on, wax off. And in here in the shade, we should just be able to lay this on nice and smooth. I'll work it in pretty well, and then we'll take it right back off.
That's pretty.
With the exterior and engine bay done, now we can move into the interior. Now it's definitely not the worst because it was a truck and it was fairly empty. We've got a lot of trash in all of the seams, some mold on most of the plastics. And overall, it just needs a really good loving. So first thing, let's go ahead and pull this seat out of here, and that'll give us access to everything, because there is a bunch of trash behind the seat too. And this whole backboard needs to be cleaned as well. Golly. Don't forget your beech nut shoe. What?
Just light it on fire and you throw it in the road.
Just the whole thing?
Flare. Yeah. You take it out and light
Go
it
grab
on
a
fire.
lighter. Seriously, I want to see how it works. Okay, so this is probably from like the 80s, but I'm gonna try to. Does it still work? Oh my.
Oh yeah. Got a flare.
Is that all it does?
Yeah, it's a flare.
Ain't nobody gonna see that coming down the road.
If it's dark, maybe.
Does it get brighter? It's a good fire starter, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. I wanted to see sparkles or something.
I know, that's what I'm saying. All right, Dad. It's time to get back in here and get this interior clean. So what we're actually going to use for the floor mat now is just some wheel and tire cleaner. Now the reason being is it actually pulls all of the grime and dirt out of that rubber, and so that should leave us with a nice clean floor mat. So we're going to go ahead and try that really quick and let's see how it looks. And as you can see, what's nice is it's not all wet looking and slip or anything. It's actually nice and dry, but really clean. Definitely a neat surprise to find underneath the seat here is the original build sheet, which gives you all the options that this truck had. Now, sadly, there's no point even trying to get this one out of here. But really, it is just so neat to see something like that still underneath a seat. There you have it, a full detail. This thing was disgusting, but my goodness, did it have a pretty sharp truck underneath it. Now, it's not a perfect truck. It's not a perfect detail. We're not professionals, but I am enamored by just how nice this truck is. This was definitely used primarily as a Sunday cruiser, not a pickup truck, as you can tell. But I really hope you all have enjoyed the rescue to this point. Pulling this truck out, bringing it back to life, getting it running, and then doing the full detail. There's still quite a bit more to do. Little odds and ends like fix the bed, repair the tailgate. Probably gonna have to put a new set of tires on this thing. Those are 2005 date codes. They look great. They look like brand new, but they're really old and quite dry rotted. And then of course we need to finish our brakes and a few other little odds and ends to get this thing cruising back down the road, which I am excited to do. If you are enjoying this and you enjoy these type of rescues, be sure to subscribe button, notification bell, so you can keep up with all our posts on stuff like this and the ones that are coming in the near future. And if you have been a part of the channel, we really do appreciate it so much. It is so fulfilling to be able to do things like this, and we could not do it without each and every one of you. But that is gonna wrap it up. Peace out and catch you all on the flip side.